Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma rzuqna ya Rabbi fahman nabiyyin wa hifdhan mursalin wa ilhamal malaikatil muqarrabin fi afiyatin ya arhamar rahimin. Allahumma aftah alaina futuhal arifin wa fakkihna fid din wa alimna ta'wil wa ila sawa'is sabil. يا فتاح يا عليم يا فتاح يا عليم يا فتاح يا عليم افتح علينا فتحا قريبا اللهم إنا نسألك العلم اللدني ومشرب الصافي الهني يا وهاب يا غني وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nawaitu ta'allum wa ta'alim wa tadhakkur wa tadhkir wa naf'a wal intifa'a wal ifadata wal istifada wal hatha ala tamasuki bi kitabillah wa sunnati rasulih sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa du'a ilal huda wa dalalata ala al-khair ibtigha'a wajhillahi mardhatih wa kurbihi wa thawabih subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah, all praise be to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who has given us this opportunity to gather here on a Monday morning to again resume. In fact, this is our first class in 2026. So, inshallah, we hope that we get to continue on. And our goal is to be able to read simple Arabic text and to be able to understand it. Okay, so in order to do that, we've done a number of things. Okay, we started in regards to the technical Arabic section where we started on Saraf. Yeah, we started to introduce you to Dhama'ir. Okay, Dhama'ir, which is the plural of Dhamir. Okay, which is a pronoun. Okay, which is a pronoun. And we started introducing you to Dhamir Munfasil. Okay, so that means these are detached pronouns. Okay, in the pointing you to the various addressees. No, not addressees, but the addressee. Okay, the addressee in a conversation. Okay. So, like for example, we started with this. Huwa corresponds to he, okay, which is basically, okay, this is something that we call mudhakkar mufrad ghaib. Okay, mudhakkar mufrad. It's not writing. Okay. Mufrad ghaib. Okay. Mudhakkar is male. Mufrad means singular. Ghaib means second person. That means the person is not actually present in the conversation, but rather is being talked about. Okay, so he is the subject of the conversation. Okay, thereafter we move on to Uma, which is still in this case it is mudhakkar, but it is muthanna. That means there are two people that we are talking about, and it's still ghaib. Okay, and then we also introduced home. Okay, home, which is also for mudhakkar, and for huma and home. Here I mentioned before that we use the mudhakkar by default, even if there is an element of mu'annath. That means even if there's a female in the conversation that or in the subject that we are talking about, okay, we will still use mudhakkar as long as there is a male in there. Okay, so home would be for mudhakkar, jama, that means plural, more than two, and it's still ghaib. Okay, so it's still someone who is not present in the conversation. Okay, and then we do likewise. Okay, we would go through all of them because we went through them actually in the when we started the class last year. Okay, so we did the corresponding ones for female. Okay, mu'annath. Okay, so these are mu'annath, okay, for female. And then, okay, we did the mukhatab. Again, the mukhatab, which is someone who is addressed in the conversation directly. Okay, so it would be like, for example, this would be you. Okay, correspond to you in English, but this would be mudhakkar. Okay, this would be mudhakkar. This would be mudhakkar mufrad, but mukhatab. Okay, mukhatab. Okay, meaning that this is a male. He's a single male. Okay, that means it's just one person, and he is addressed in the conversation. Okay, so we use anta, and then we use anti for the corresponding for muannath. Okay, so you can just extrapolate it so on. Okay, so anta, antuma, antum, anti, antuma, antunna, and then we went through, okay, the mutakallim. Okay, so this would be, doesn't matter whether it's mudhakkar or muannath. Okay, it's mufrad, one person, and he is mutakallim. That means he's actually someone who is speaking here. So he's talking about himself. Okay, the one that is in that conversation, the topic of that conversation is he himself. Okay, so he would use ana, and if it's plural, we use nahnu. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether the plural in this case, when you are mutakallim, whether it is a dual, muthanna, or it is jama', okay, more than two. Okay, so this is a recap of what we did for Dhama'ir. Okay, in particular Dhama'ir, which is munfasilah. Okay, in when we started the class last year. And then at the end of last year, I introduced you to the muttasil. Okay, because I said that sometimes some things don't work with the munfasil. Although the sentence that you are constructing may be understood even with a munfasil, but it is better for you to use a muttasil. Okay, because there is a qaida in Arabic. Yeah, the Arabs say that generally the shorter thing, you know, to say something in the shortest possible manner is afsah. That means it is the most fasih way to say something. You know, so even though I can say ana ji'tu ila suq, ana ji'tu ila suqi, I can say that I arrived in the market by saying ana ji'tu ila suqi, but because there is already a dhamir that is found in ji'tu, yeah, which is ana. So the ana in that case is ziyada. It's actually an unnecessary addition to the sentence. Yeah, you could have just said jitu ila suki. Yeah, and that is better. So if you can use fewer words. It's usually better. Yeah, and we say usually because there are instances in Arabic. So when you learn balagha, you learn Arabic rhetoric, yeah, and eloquence, you know that in certain cases, yeah, it is better for you to use a longer sentence, yeah. Sometimes it's there to make points, you know, to stress on a point. Sometimes it is said, you know, in a manner which is longer. You use more words, yeah, because you want to make it more polite, you know. So you would say you use 10 things, you know. Let's say you're talking about, let's say something sensitive, a private part, a private area, you know, then you would use more words, you know, like how, you know, when people want to ask for a girl's hand in marriage and they want to know whether she's available or not, yeah. So they will ask, you know, like whether apa dia kata, kebun, ya? kebun tu dah berbunga, dah berpunya, you know. So they will say things in, they will go beat around the bush just to make a point, but it is mafhum in the minds of the people who listen to it, So and they say that actually the nicer way of saying, like let's say you met someone and you met his wife for the first time, let's say an auntie, not a man, So an auntie met her nephew, and he's never met his wife before, So this is the first time that she met the wife. So if she speaks about the wife of her nephew to this other auntie, she would probably say something like, dah jumpa Muhammad, dengan isterinya ada rupa, they won't say like, maybe kids, they would use a term like jambu ke cantik, kan? So you can beat around the bush. You say ada rupa, that means like cantik lah, But you use more words to say the same thing. Okay. So ala kulli hal, going back to our lessons. So let's say, okay, I want to say something like someone's book. Let's say Ahmad's book. Okay. So Ahmad is already known, and I want to say that this book is Ahmad's book. So this book is his book. How would I say it? I won't say kitab huwa. Although if I say kitab huwa, it would become mudaf ilay, and it would be understood that this is his book, But the better way for me to say it is to say kitabuhu. Okay? Is to say kitabuhu. Kitabuhu. So I just use the domir muttasil here, kitabuhu, okay, which is actually pointing to huwa. Okay, it's the same thing, but this is how you join it together with the object. Okay, and this is a better way for you to express it in Arabic. Okay, for huma, it's still the same. Kitabu huma. Okay, their book, referring to two people who own this book. Okay, and if for home as well, it would be kitabuhum. Okay, it's the same thing. So we won't waste time to write it out. But inshallah ta'ala, for your own benefit, you should write it out so that actually you know how it is expressed in Arabic. Okay, so now for the muannath. Okay, so let's say I have a girl, Zainab, okay, and she owns this book. So I would say kita buha. Okay, so the ha here, okay, corresponds with here. Okay, I don't have to say kita buhia, but I can say kita buha, and this is afsah. This is opposite for you to express it in this manner. Okay, so for hunna and for huma and for hunna, it's the same thing. Okay, so I won't write it down. So kitab huma and kitab hunna. Okay, that's how I would express it. If I wanted to say their book, okay, their book referring to females, dual and jama in Arabic. Okay, type. Okay. So if it was anta, I don't have to say kitabu anta. Again, I can say kitabuka. Ini kitabuka refers to means your book. So this is your book. Kitabuka. Kitabuka. Okay, kitabu anta, kitabuka. So the ka here, the kaf, okay, corresponds with anta if you were using damir munfasil. Okay, so same thing for the kuma and kum, it would be kitabu kuma and kitabu kum. So I won't write it down, but you should do it anyway. okay, for your own benefit and for your own understanding and recollection of this discussion later on. Okay. For anta, again for anti, it would be just kitabuki. Kitabuki. Okay, kitabu anti is kitabuki. So if I'm talking to my daughter, okay, and I'm telling her that this is her book, I would say hadha kitabuki. Okay, hadha kitabuki. And this is your book. Okay, referring to a single female whom I'm addressing in this conversation. Okay, so likewise, equal and the jama, okay, is kuma and kunna, kitabu kuma and kitabu kunna. So I won't write it down because the domir is no, actually the domir I should write it down because the domir is different in this case. Okay, kitabu kuma. Sorry, kitabu kuma. Kitabukum. Okay, so antuma and antum, yeah, the domir is different. So kitabukuma and kitabukum. And again, here it would be kitabu kuma, kitabu kunna, kitabu kunna. Okay, so
Ustaz Zafwan, I have a few questions.
okay.
I'm still a bit lost with regards to, okay, for instance, the doma on top of the bu in kitabuhu, it can also be a fatha or a kasra depending on where it is used in the sentence, right?
Yes, correct.
So that means that the domir will also follow suit, kan?
No, actually the only place where the domir will follow suit is if it is majrur, you know, and that is also where it is possible for it to follow suit. Okay, so for just for the benefit of yeah, Siti Nafisa, who's also listening in, you know, so maybe if you're not familiar with this, you know, sometimes what Shanawas is asking is that sometimes let's say I'm talking about kitab, okay, so the asal it's kitabun, okay, kitabun, but sometimes depending on the structure of the sentence, okay, let's say I'm talking about your book, okay, kitabuka, okay, kitabuka. So originally it would be expressed with a dhamma here, okay, because this is the asal, the original state. Yeah. But however, if I want to say that, let's say, I'm saying ra'ai to who. Okay. Ra'ai to who. Okay. Fi kita. Okay. So now I'm saying ra'aituhu. So again, I'm using a dhamir muttasil here, but with a fi'al. Okay, ra'aituhu meaning I saw it. Okay, I saw it, whatever it is. I saw an item, some piece of information, you know, that I was looking for. So I say, I ra'aituhu, I saw it. Okay, fi. Okay, so here's the thing. With harful jar here, okay, this would become majrur. So if I wanted to say I saw it in a book, ra'aituhu fi kitabin, okay, I would change it from a dhammatain to a kasratain. So here in this case, with this dhamir muttasil, okay, attached to kitab, to the word kitab here. So what happens? Yeah, so we would say ra'aituhu fi kitabi, fi kitabi. kitabika. Okay, fi kitabika. Okay, this becomes majrur because of the harful jar. Okay, but this one remains. Okay, but the question is, can this domir follow suit? Because this is a kasra. Okay, because the ba, the shakal on the ba is a kasra. Can the domir follow suit? Yes, in some instances. Like for example, if I were to say the same thing, yeah, okay, ra'aituhu, okay, ra'aituhu fi kita, okay, the asal is fi kita, is kitabuhu, but because there's a harful jar here, so I say kitabi he. Okay, so it follows suit where it can follow suit, but there are cases where it doesn't follow suit. Like for example here, it doesn't follow suit. Why? Because kita biki would mean a different thing. It would mean a girl's book. I'm talking about a girl, and this is her book, you know. And here, because the dhamir for huwa, it can actually follow suit, so it will follow suit. But sometimes it can also, okay, like for example, fi kita bi ha. Okay, in her book, fi kitabiha. So it doesn't follow suit here. You know, there are cases where it follows suit. Okay, like for example for huwa it does, as you can see here, it does. Okay, fi kitabihima for huma, yes, fi kitabihima, oh yes, it can follow suit. Okay, fi him, yes, it follows suit. But there are other situations where it doesn't, you know, like in kia form, it, when it's her, it doesn't follow suit. Okay, in
Kalau kita bikum is kita bikum lah.
kitabikum is still kitabikum.
Okay.
Okay,
Keren.
so it will follow the jar, that means being majrur in certain cases, and it will not follow, and it will remain in certain other cases. Inshallah ta'ala, we will go through it as we go along. Okay.
Ustaz, and also just sorry, I actually have a follow-up question. As you've demonstrated, this domir can be attached to either an isim, uh, apa ni, a fi'il or a harf.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Shukran.
So now we will just we just delete that discussion till later, and in fact now, yeah, we've arrived at it because in most cases, okay, between it being attached to an isim, fi'il, okay, a noun or verb, it doesn't really matter because it turns out the same way, you know. Like let's say this is kitabuhu, but if I want to say that someone wrote it, okay, I can say katabuhu, okay, katabahu, okay, sorry, katabahu, he wrote it, okay, and it would look exactly the same. Okay? It would look exactly the same. So katabahu, kataba, maybe someone wrote two books, katabahuma, okay, and katabahum also possible, but if we are using home, so maybe it's katab doesn't mean right, but maybe it could mean amar. It could be amara. So katabahum, okay. So it would look the same, okay, but sometimes it looks different as well. Okay, so now, you know, when we arrive at this the mutakallim, okay, you would notice that it actually becomes apparent that it's different. Okay, so like let's say, I want to say, Allah commanded me to perform the 5 salats. Okay, so I would say Allah amaroni, okay, bi, or maybe bil, okay, bil khamsi as salawats. Okay. As salawats. Okay. So would be khamsi as salawats. Okay. Allahu amarani bil khamsi salawat. Okay, Allah commanded me to perform the 5 prayers. Okay, here when the dhamir muttasil for mutakallim mufrad, okay, when it's attached to a verb, a fi'l, it becomes amarani. Okay, that means there is a nun here which points to the mutakallim mufrad. Okay, mutakallim mufrad. And this is how you would present it if you are using a verb. But if it is word that it is attached to is an isim. Okay, so let's say I want to say my book. I don't have to say kitab. Kitabuni. I would say kitabi. Okay, this is sufficient. Okay, for you to say kitabi. Hadha kitabi, this is my book. Okay, so let's say in the do'as, Allah, let's say I want to say Allahumma, okay, Allahumma zukni, okay, Allahumma zukni, Allahumma zukni, okay, oh Allah, give me sustenance, rezekikanlah aku. Okay, so I would express it in this way. Okay, with the nun and the ya, okay, pointing to the mufrad mutakallim. Allahumma rzuqni ya rabbi fahman nabiyyin. Okay, likewise, if I would say, let's say, dua, I'm reading the dua fajr. Okay, Allahumma ja'alni. Okay, Allahumma ja'alni nura. Make me nur. Okay, Allahumma ja'alni nura. So I would use the ya, which points to the mutakallim. Okay, and but if I want to say Allahumma taqabbal, okay, taqabbal, taqabbal, Allahumma taqabbal my salat, salati wa siyami. Okay, so I would say Rabbana taqabbal salati. Why? Because this is an isim. So I would just say salati. I don't have to say salatani. Okay, siyami, Allahumma taqabbal siyami. Okay, wa umrati, wa sujudi, wa ruku'i. Okay, so that's how we would express it. And this is just to show you the difference between the dhamir muttasil when it is attached a fi'l and when it is attached to an isim. Okay, the difference between the two. Okay, there are also discussions with regards to it being attached to a harf, but inshallah ta'ala will reserve that for later. Okay.
Thank you.
Baik. Okay, so and then okay, the last one is mutakallim jama'. So mutakallim jama', if I were to express it, okay, I say Allahu amarona. Okay, amarona bil khamsi salawat. Okay, or I can say Allah marzuqna. Okay, and if I want to say Allahumma taqabbal solatana wasiyamana wasiyamana solatana wasiyamana. Okay, so there's no difference if I'm using a fi'l or an isim. Okay, when I'm using, when the domir in question is the the nun mutakallim. Okay, the nun mutakallim, there's no difference. It only differs when it is when I'm talking about myself. So the mutakallim is mufrad. Okay, okay, type questions so far. Okay, so next week, inshallah ta'ala, okay, because if you recall, the reason why we went through this entire exercise, okay, introducing the domir muttasil, is because we also wanted to introduce at least simple conversations in Arabic, so that at least you can buzz a little bit in Arabic, okay. So what we introduced to you was firstly the salam. Okay, we spoke about the salam. So firstly, assalamu alaikum. Okay, so this is standard. Okay, assalamu alaikum or assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So the answer, the response would be wa alaikumsalam. Wa alaikum assalam. Okay, waalaikumsalam. So this would be like the soal and this would be the jawab. Okay. So let's say we proceed on and we ask a person, okay, min aina jita, min aina jita. Okay, so the soal is min aina jita. Okay, so this is where did you come from? Okay, and this is different from min aina anta, because min aina anta, that means we're talking about the shakhs itself, the person itself. Okay, where are you from? Which country are you from? Which area are you from? You know, which state are you from? For countries that are big enough to have states, okay, then you would ask min aina anta. But if you ask min aina jita, jita refers to is from ja'a yaji'u. Oh, ja'a yaji'u, which means to come from before this, okay? Min aina jita, so that means where did you come from before this, okay? So the jawab would be, you don't have to say ana, okay? But herein, we make practical use of our saraf lessons. So you don't have to say ana, you can just say jitu min, okay, from where? Okay, for example, minal baits, from home, okay, minasuk, okay, minasuk, minal maktab, okay, okay, or you can make practical use also of what we learned just now. Min, instead of say minal baits, you can say min baiti, okay, because now you know how to use the dhamir muttasil, the dhamir muttasil. So you can say ana ji'tu min baiti. So now we start making practical use of the things that we have learned. Okay, right. So min aina ji'ta, ji'tu min baiti. Okay, I came from my my home. Okay, so the follow-up question would be, ila, to where? Okay, ila aina tadhhab. So where are you going? So maybe I'm asking this because after this encounter, you'll be going somewhere else. So I'll ask you, okay, ila aina tadhhab? Where are you going after this? Okay. So notice that I use the I use the oh sorry, it's not that which should be highlighted this one. So I use the past tense verb here, the madi here, min aina jita, from where did you come from? Okay, but now asking you where you're going, I would use the fi'l mudari here, ila aina tadhhab. Okay, so the use of the tense, okay, whether it's past tense or present tense, is about it's about the same, okay, in English. So if you picture in your mind, if you would ask someone, okay, where did you come from? So you know that actually that is a question about where he came from. Okay, so it would be you would use a past tense verb. And likewise, okay, if we are talking about something that's going to happen in future, okay, there is a way to express that, which are not mentioned in this class. Some of you may already know, maybe. Okay, so we'll just stick to this. So where are you going? Okay, where are you going? This is a present continuous, um, um, tense verb that I'm using in English. Okay, so actually the corresponding, okay, verb form that you should use in Arabic would be ila aina tadhhab. This would be the mudari. Okay, so then you would answer also. You won't answer in past tense, so you won't say dhahabtu. Okay, so the person who is answering, okay, he would say, okay, his answer would be adhabu. I'm going ila wherever. Ila Tampines, ila Jurong, okay, ila Souk, ila Madinah, to the city. Okay, so you can these are ways to express things in Arabic, and I'm just teaching you just this few so that inshallah ta'ala you can start buzzing. So every week we will introduce a little bit and we will use it with each other. We will practice, okay? So it becomes fluent, okay, for all of us to answer simple questions, okay, in Arabic, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so up to this point, any questions? By the way, this one we will actually use next week, inshallah. Okay. And then, okay, might as well we complete it. Then what do we do when we are parting? Okay, when we are parting, we can say ilal al liqa. Okay, ilal liqa. Okay, we can say ilal liqa. Okay, until we meet again. Okay, or we can say ma'assalama. People actually translate this as goodbye. Okay, there's no actual goodbye in Arabic. Okay, it's ma'as salama. Ma'as salama is a very nice way to a nice expression to use when you are parting. Okay, because you are actually wishing that person well, going about his journey, going to his next destination. Or you can say fi amanillah. Okay, fi amanillah. Okay, fi amanillah. So you can say this. Okay, you can say also astaudiukum, astaudiukumullah. Okay, I put you in Allah's care. Okay, I'll put you in Allah's care. and then the response would be qabilna wadi'a, okay, or qabiltu qabiltu al wadi'a, okay, qabiltu al wadi'a. These are actually ways of saying goodbye in Arabic. So inshallah ta'ala we'll practice this next week. Yeah.
Afwan Ustaz, yang qabil tu wadiah ni, what does it mean?
That means that I accept the my placing in Allah's care. So it says, I place you in Allah's care. Astaudiukumullah. So you can say qabiltul wadi'ah. This is actually very common, especially amongst religious Arabs. You know, if they have some religiosity, they will actually say this. And if I'm not wrong, this is actually something that came from the practice of the ashab of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, question. Go ahead.
Ustaz, if we were to say Asfaudakumullah, and then the answer is called Jinawida, that is in what form?
This is in fi'il madi form. Okay, fi'il madi form, but there are certain things. Okay, so I told you, now you think of it in madi and mudari, in present tense and in past tense and present tense in English, you know. But there are certain things that the expression is a past tense expression, and sometimes there are no present tense equivalent. Okay, so when like for example, if someone says, I just took home bil amal, okay, I give you ijazah for this amal, okay, although you are actually receiving the ijazah right now, you don't say akbilul ijazah, you say qabiltul ijazah. Okay, that means you are saying that actually I had accepted it. Okay, but it actually means present tense. There are many expressions in Arabic that are just like that. Okay, so you just have to go about it and have some experience before you can tell whether you should use past tense or present tense verb form. Okay, so and early on, actually, when I first came to Tarim, I thought about it like in English, you know, the tense. I couldn't have thought about it in Malay because we don't have present and future tense expressions, you know. So I use like my mind was translating from English to Arabic, you know. So like we would say, if I want to buy something, I would say uridu an ashtari. Okay, yeah. But sometimes when you are expressing it to someone, let's say the muhatab, okay, I wouldn't say that I won't say that idha turid. Yeah, I would say idha aradta an tashtari. Okay, so here I use both forms. Okay, idha aradta, so it is more equivalent to saying if you had wanted to buy, you know. And this is actually a more common way for the Arabs to express it. So when I heard it enough and someone actually told me about it, in fact, it was a teacher who told me about it, you know, that he said, use the madi because you don't sound natural, you know. So I kind of get it, you know, that that because there's already a mudari expression in the sentence, I should begin with the madi, you know. So anyway, just to summarize, I am accepting it right now, but you would express it in the madi. Okay. Okay, Taib, I hope I answered your question. Okay. Okay, so this is just like some things just it's just experience, you know, and then you will know that it is still present tense even though you're using the Madi. Okay? So inshallah ta'ala we will go through this next week practical. Okay, inshallah ta'ala just practice, and inshallah ta'ala we will do some practical exercises next week. Okay. So we move on to our Madinah reader inshallah ta'ala. Sounds still okay? Okay, so inshallah ta'ala we will go through lesson 7 now. Okay. Lesson 7, okay, Ad-Darsus Sabi', the 7th lesson. So in this lesson we have conversations between two people. So let's look at them. Okay, so the question is here, Man hadhihi? Okay, so now the author is introducing us to an isim ishara. Okay, isim ishara, which is feminine here, which is muannath. Man hadhihi? Okay, who is this? Okay, because we are pointing to a female subject. Okay, so we would say hadhihi aminatu. This is Amina. Okay, and then if you are talking about someone who is further away, that means in distance. Okay, we wouldn't say man hadhihi, but we will say man tilka. So who is this and who is that? Man hadhihi, hadhihi aminatu. Man tilka, who is that? Okay, referring to a female still. Tilka Fatimatu. And that is Fatima. Okay, so as I'm doing this, okay, it'll be good for you to also utter and express the sentences on your own. Okay, if we were in a physical class, I would have made you repeat after me. Okay, Man hadhihi, hadhihi aminatu. Man tilka, tilka Fatimatu. So just do it on your own, okay, because it's good practice for you. Okay, hadhihi tabibatun. Okay, this one, the person who is closer is a tabiba. Okay, is a doctor. Okay, watilka, the one who is further away. So here, I suppose this is the nurse and this is the doctor. Okay, so this is the near one and this is the far one. Okay, so tilka mumarridatun, and that one, that person over there far away is a mumarridatun. Okay, it's a nurse. Okay, okay, we go on. Hadhihi minal hindi. So this person who is near here, referring to the doctor, I suppose. Minal hindi, she's from India. Watilka minal yabani. Okay, minal yabana. Okay, minal yabana. Okay, and that one is from Yabana wala Yabani. Yabani. Okay, minal yabani. Okay, hadhihi minal hindi wa tilka minal yabani. Okay, and that one far away is from Japan. Okay, and then she's now talking about heights. Okay, hadhihi tawilatun. So this person here who is close, tawilatun is tall. Watilka qasiratun, and that person far away is short. Okay. Right. Man hadha, and who is this? Hadha Hamidun. So now we are drawing a distinction between hadhihi and hadha. Now we're talking about, we're using the isim isyarah for a meal. Okay. Man hadha, hadha hamidun. Okay, this is hamid. Okay. So just remember that actually when we are talking about people's names, okay, there's a distinction between Hamid and Hamid. Okay, if we are talking about the Asma Allah, okay, it would be Hamid, Al-Hamid. Okay, the one who receives praise, Abdul Hamid. Okay, Abdul Hamid, the servant of the one who receives praise. But the one who praises, the fa'il, is Hamid. Okay, so don't say Abdul Hamid. Okay, if someone's name is Abdul Hamid, we say Abdul Hamid. Okay, but if his name is just Hamid alone, okay, then it would be Hamid. Okay, the praiser, the one who praises. Okay, Hamid is the one who receives the praise. Okay. Okay, we continue on. Man dhalika, and who is that? Dhalika Aliyun. Okay, and that is Ali. Okay, here is a question. Atilka dajajatun. So now we're not referring to male and female, but we're talking about male and female human beings, but we're talking about animals. Okay. So the dajaja, okay, is expressed here as a muannath, as a female. Okay. Atilka dajajatun. So we still use the female or feminine pronouns, okay? And then the answer would be la tilka battatun. Okay, no, that is a duck. Okay, is that a chicken? No, that is a duck. Okay, matilka, and what is this? Okay, what is this? So the answer is tilka baydatun. Okay, this is an egg. Okay, and here we see that the feminine pronouns, the feminine, these are not pronouns, sorry, but these are, what do we call this? Isim isyarah. These, what do you call isim isyarah? These are words that actually point to a thing, okay? So it's not a pronoun, sorry, but um, we call it a replacement noun. No, there's a word for it. Okay. Let me think of the word. But anyway, this is isim isyarah. Okay. Matilka, proposition. Preposition. It's not a preposition. It's yeah, we'll think about it. Okay. Anyway, this is isim isyarah. Okay. Like this and that. Demonstrative pronoun. Okay. So this is a demonstrative pronoun. Okay. So matilka, okay, so we use a feminine demonstrative pronoun, okay, and isim isyarah lil muannath, yeah. Why? Because dajajatun, okay, is muannath, and likewise battatun is also muannath, and likewise bayda, okay, because just in case if someone says that maybe this is a female duck. Okay, this is we're talking about a female chicken and a female duck. No, even if it's just an egg, okay, which has no gender at this point in time of its existence, okay, tilka baydatun. Okay, we would still use the feminine, okay, the feminine isim isyarah demonstrative pronoun. Okay, right. Okay, and likewise to further demonstrate this, okay, hadhihi sayaratul mudarrisi. This is the car of the mudarris. So here, okay, the author is just pointing us to the usage of the demonstrative pronoun. We would use the feminine form, the muannath, okay, isim isyarah for muannath, okay, depending on the object, okay, depending on the object. So just so that we are not confused here, okay, so it depends on the mudaf, not the mudafun ilay. So since the mudaf, the object is a car, the car of the teacher, okay, so we reference this to this and not to this. Okay, not to this. Okay, so it would be hadihi sayaratul mudarrisi. So this is the car of the teacher. Watilka sayaratul mudiri. And that is the car of the principal. Okay, so this is a reference to this. Okay, not this. Right? Okay. And the last one, asa'atu abbasin. So here, mudaf ilaih. Okay. Asa'atu abbasin hadhihi. Is this Abbas's watch? Okay. So again, here this hadhihi is in reference to the sa'a, not in reference to Abbas. Okay. So he's just pointing out to you that it doesn't matter. We are not using the isim ishara that is feminine because it is in here, because it is the isim ishara is right next to the word sayara. Okay, even if it is away from the word, it is not the word next to it. Okay, we still reference it back to the mudaf, not the mudafun ilai. Okay, asa'atu abbasin hadihi. La hadihi sa'atu hamidin. No, this is Hamid's watch. Tilka sa'atu abbasin. And that is Abbas's watch. Okay. So now the last thing that the author is pointing out to us, okay, in his sentences here is with regards to the use of demonstrative pronoun dhalika and tilka, pointing to something that is far. Okay, dhalika and tilka. So dhalika is for mudhakkar and tilka is for muannath. Here he's saying, or he's showing to us, dhalika dikun. That is a rooster. When we're talking about a rooster which is clearly distinguished from a hen, okay, from a hen, so we still use the mudhakkar, okay, and the hen here, which is clearly distinguished in gender from the rooster, we still use the muannath. So we would say dhalika dikun. So that is a rooster. What tilka, and that, okay, pointing to far, dajajatun, okay, is a hen. Okay, dhalika dikun wa tilka dajajatun, and that is a hen. Okay, so yeah, so okay, we'll stop here for now. We'll ask if anybody has any questions. Tafadhal. Questions?
Ustaz.
Yes.
So in the examples, dia ada satu tilka dajajatun. Habis lagi satu is asa'atu abbasin hadhihi.
Mm-mm.
So I think my question is, why is it in one case the demonstrative pronoun is in front, and in another case the demonstrative pronoun is behind?
Okay. Okay. So as we mentioned before, in Arabic, in some cases, the sequence of the words have very little to do with whether it is the subject or the object of a sentence. And one of the reasons why this is so is because we have the signs of like inflecting signs, the Arabic language. We have things like mansub, marfu, okay, to indicate whether it is the object of the sentence, or you know, it is the doer of the verb, you know. So we have those tools to use in Arabic. Okay, so that's why they say that in classical Arabic it doesn't matter which one comes first, you know, because you can always tell from how the signs reflect. Okay, um, um, so that is one of the reasons why it doesn't matter. Okay, so actually it is equally possible for me to say ahadihi sa'atu Abbasin. Okay, is this Abbas's watch? Okay, and just as it is possible for me to say asa'atu Abbasin hadi. Okay, is this Abbas's watch. Okay, so I can put it either way and it would mean the same thing. It's just that the author, the intent of the author to do this here is just to demonstrate to you that this is not, we don't use mu'annath for in this case, okay, just because, okay, just because it is right next to the object in question, even, you know. So someone might say that actually if I were to ask this question in this manner, I would say asa'atu Abbasin hadha, because actually it is right next to the word Abbas, so it should be a mudhakkar. So this is just to demonstrate, he just uses a different way of expressing, just to demonstrate to us that it still goes back to this, the mudaf, and not to the mudafun ilay. You know, not, that means it is not in reference to the to that, to the word which is closest to it, but it goes back to the mudaf, not the mudafun ilay. Okay. Hmm?
So similarly, we could have said ad-dajajatun tilka, Ustaz.
Hmm?
Similarly, we could have said ad-dajajatun tilka.
Yes, ada jajatun tilka.
Okay. Shukran, Ustaz.
Okay. So and like okay. Okay. Like so this is just practical, okay? So make practical use of what we learned just now. Okay. So now I want to say dajajatu ana. Okay, my dajaja. Okay, my dajaja. So adajajati hadihi. Okay. So again, this goes back to the mudaf, not the mudafun ilay. Okay. It goes back to the dajaja and not to the ana, because if it goes back to me, obviously it would have been other, but this is not the case. Okay, we relate it back, or we refer it back to the mudaf, not the mudafun ilay. Okay, and this is, I just use this actually to demonstrate to you the use of dhamir muttasil. Okay. Questions? Okay, no questions. We'll continue on. Okay, so read and write. Okay, this is a very important exercise. Sometimes you think that actually why should I copy back words that are already written in the book? And the reason why you should copy back is that because it helps to improve your handwriting, and it also helps to wire your mind to Arabic, and that's why you should copy back the sentence even though it's already written in the book. You know? Even copying actually brings you benefits. Okay, so just read it and write it back. Okay, so we'll go through the sentences inshallah ta'ala. Okay, ikra waktub. So these are fi'il amr. Okay, ikra, read, waktub, and write. Okay. Hadihi madrasatun. Hadihi madrasatun wa tilka jami'atun. This is a madrasah, this is a school, wa tilka jami'atun. And that is a university. Okay. Next one. Dhalika himarun wa tilka baqaratun. Dhalika referring to something far. For a mudhakkar, himarun is a donkey. Okay, the himar is mudhakkar. Wa tilka baqaratun, and that is a cow. Okay. So we use tilka here because it is the word bakara is a muannath, and here we know it because there is a ta marbuta. It is one of the indicators of muannath. Next one. Adhalika masjidun, is that a masjid? The answer, la tilka madrasatun. Okay. So here he's just demonstrating, because he's saying the person who is questioning is making reference to a masjid, so he uses dhalika. But the answer, again, the person who's answering and correcting him, he still uses the muannath, okay, because the madrasah is muannath, okay, and we know it because there's a ta marbuta here. Okay. Right. Hadha jamalun, and that is this is a camel. Watilka daqatun, and that is a camel also, but a female camel. So we say naqa is another word for a female camel. It's one of the words for a female camel. Okay, a camel that can give birth. Okay. Next one. هذه مدرسة هذه مدرسة. هذه مدرسة. This is a female teacher. وتلك طالبة, and that is a female student. هذا كلب. Next one. هذا كلب. This is a dog. وذلك قط, and that is a cat. Okay, and that is a cat. Last one, number 7. هذا بيت المؤذن. This is the house of the mu'adhin. وتلك حديقة التاجر, and that is the garden of the businessman. Okay. So again, note that this one, okay, this isim isyara goes back to the mudhaf, not the mudhaf ilayhi. Okay, type questions. Okay, if there are no questions, do the exercise on page 54 for homework. Okay, you can submit to me. Okay, if you choose to submit to me, you can submit to me. Okay, if you choose not to submit to me, okay, that is entirely your call. Okay. And go through the conversation, questions and answers that we went through just now, so that inshallah ta'ala next week when we open, okay, we can start practicing conversations. It just helps to wire your mind, even though we are learning this for to be able to read books, okay, but nonetheless we hope that actually that it helps to wire your mind quickly, and also you get some benefit because inshallah ta'ala you'll be able to buzz in Arabic to someone and you'll be able to buzz quickly at least in these pleasantries, that people often have with each other. How are you? Where you came from? How are your children? So inshallah ta'ala, we will go through this. Okay. Any questions?
Ustaz, sorry yang this hadhihi ni we use for feminine, so tak semestinya yang ada ta marbuta kan?
Ya, tak semestinya yang ada tak marbuta lah.
Okay.
Some words they don't have tak marbuta, but it is just known that it is feminine. How do we know? Because we hear the Arabs pronounce it and using the feminine pronoun, so we know that actually it's feminine. Like the word for a house, one of the words for a house, dar, is feminine. It still dar is feminine, even though there's no tak marbuta. It's still feminine because of the way, the philosophy of how the Arabs view the function of a dar as opposed to the function of a bait. So dar is something that has the notion of istiqbal, receiving something. So it's feminine because of that. The bites maybe produces something, so it's masculine. So
And then you mentioned in a previous lesson, if it's a body part where there's a pair or something, then it is feminine.
Yes.
So macam rijlun gitu. Hadhihi rijlun.
Yes, correct. Yadun, udhunun. Okay. And then like certain words, like shamsun wa qamarun. It's still feminine, even though there's no ta marbuta. Yeah. So and these things you just have to it's just you just can't kind of come to know about these things through experience. Okay. So the ones with signs we say are the ones with ta marbuta, and then we have qaedah, like body parts that come in pairs, but there are some other things where we don't know. We can't tell what they are, whether they are masculine or feminine. We know because we hear the Arabs use it in that way. So inshallah ta'ala, we will end here. If there are no other questions, do the homework and do the practice Q&A. Okay, look through whatever we've gone through today, and we'll see you again next week, inshallah ta'ala. So we recite Al-Fatiha. Al-Fatiha ila Sayyidina wa Habibina wa Shafi'ina wa Maulana Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa sallam wa alihi wa azwaji wa dhurriyyati wa ahli baiti wa ila sadatina ali abi alam bi anna Allah yusahhil umurana wa yusahhil umurana fi durus بالخصوص بالدروس في اللغة العربية بأن الله يفهمنا بالقرآن والأحاديث الأحاديث النبوية بأن الله يؤتينا علما نافعا ورزقا واسعا وشفاء من كل داء أن الله يسهل أمورنا وأمور المسلمين في كل مكان على هذه النية ولا كل نية صالحة مع لطف وعافية ويصلح شأن كل ظاهرا وباطنا وإلى حضرة النبي سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. الفاتحة. surat. Amin amin ya rabbal alamin. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Insyaallah taala we'll see you next week. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ma'assalamah Ustaz.
Ila liqa.